News Day continues here on One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. The COMELEC earlier declared the Kusi wing of PDP Laban as the legitimate faction of the ruling party. Let's get more details from Greg Gregorio, who joins us live from Manila. Hi, Greg. Good afternoon. What was the basis for the COMELEC on deciding that the Kusi faction is indeed the legitimate PDP Laban faction?
Hi, Sean. According to the decision made by the COMELEC Special Second Division, they said that the July 2021 National Assembly made by the PDP Laban as initiated by the Kusi faction is valid as it followed certain requirements, including the number of attendees, which is more than the minimum 40% quorum that is required, and it was and the party issued a notice 30 days before the National Assembly, and that this was headed by the party chair, who is President Duterte. And the division even reiterated or highlighted that since no one is questioning the chairmanship of President Duterte as the party chair, then all of the things happened in that National Assembly and the following acts made by the party as headed by the chairman President Duterte are all valid. Recall that in their July 2021 National Assembly, the party ousted Senator Manny Pacquiao as the party president. Sean?
So what happens now? Did the faction of Senator Coco Pimentel have anything to say, Greg?
Yes, Sean, according to a statement released, or according to Senator Coco Pimentel, who is leading the other faction of the PDP Laban, they will definitely be filing a motion for reconsideration at the on-bank level of the Commission on Elections. Pimentel said they will raise certain questions as to the validity of the petition earlier filed by the Kusi faction, and that it seems that the division's ruling would remove Pimentel and many other members of the PDP Laban who have been members of this political party for 40 long years, as contrary to the Kusi faction led by Energy Secretary Alfonso Kusi, who has just been a member of the party for 5 years. Sean?
All right, can you tell us about the poll body's preparations for the counting of local absentee voting ballots? Greg, any updates on this?
Sean, earlier today, the Committee on Local Absentee Voting has conducted a briefing to a number of COMELEC employees who will be serving as part of the special electoral boards who will count the manual ballots from the recently concluded local absentee voting. These individuals will be opening and counting the manual ballots that has been kept in a secured room by the COMELEC main office. This will only be opened on May 9 at 7 p.m. after the closing of the polls across the country. Director Alan Abaya of the Committee on Local Absentee Voting said they have already received close to or about 50,000 ballots so far, and they still expect that the number would still increase as transmission of manual ballots from the recently concluded LAV is still ongoing. That would end up until 7 p.m. of May 9. Sean?
All right, are we expecting, or can we expect, Greg, a higher turnout for absentee voting this time around, at least for the 2022 national elections?
Yes, Sean, according to Director Abaya, we've asked that question earlier today, and according to Director Abaya, the number of approved local absentee voters this year, which is about 84,000, is clearly higher than the approved local absentee voters in the last 2019 elections, which is just about 30,000. And the local absentee voting turnout back then was just at around 20 to 30%. But this time, even as the committee is still continuously receiving transmission of ballots, they have already received about 52,000 ballots, which is now more than 50% of the total number of approved voters for the local absentee voting. Sean?
And with regard to, just counting all these ballots, even come May 9, Greg, how long will the overall counting last?
Sean, according to Director Abaya, in 2019, when they had to count or manually count the manual ballots for the LAV at that time, it took them about 3 to 5 days. But according to Director Abaya, since we are expecting, or since we already have more ballots this time to be counted, they expect at around a week before they can completely count all the manual ballots from the recently concluded local absentee voting before they can transmit their results to the national boards of canvassers for the proclamation of senatorial candidates as well as party lists, and most importantly for those who are running for the vice presidency and presidency. Sean?
Right, so for all national posts, Greg, how long is the COMELEC, or how long does the COMELEC estimate it will take them to count all votes before we already, clearly see who are the winners in this year's elections?
Yes, Sean, for the proclamation of candidates who will be winning for the national positions, there will be two national boards of canvassers. One is the COMELEC on bank seating as the National Board of Canvassers for the purpose of proclaiming the winning senators and the party list groups. According to Commissioner George Garcia, they would need 5 to 7 days from the May 9 polls before they can announce who will be winning as the new 12 senatorial candidates, as well as other party list groups who will take a seat at the House of Representatives. But on the other hand, the Congress will also be convening as the National Board of Canvassers for the purpose of proclaiming who will be winning the vice presidency and presidency who will seat on their positions for the next 6 years. According to information, the Congress will only convene as NBOC on May 23, and the timeline for their proclamation would only depend to the NBOC or the Congress themselves. Sean?
All right, thank you for clearing that up for us and for all those updates as well. Greg Gregorio reporting to us live from Manila. Thank you, Greg. And one teachers group says that they have not yet received their transportation allowances from the COMELEC. The Teachers Dignity Coalition President Benjo Basas told Radyo 5 that 1,000 pesos should be given to teachers who participated in the final testing of vote counting machines across the country. Basas also said that the Internal Revenue Bureau has declined the request for tax-free honoraria.
Ang issue lang talaga ngayon yung issue ng payment, yung taxes, and then yung sa FTS hindi rin po naibigay yung supposedly ay 1,000 pesos na travel allowance doon sa mga nag-final testing and sealing mula kahapon hanggang ngayong araw po.
Low-income earners are raising concerns over the looming increase in PhilHealth contributions. Jenny Dongon with the report.
Ronel is a minimum wage factory worker in Pasig City. For a day's work, Ronel receives 537 pesos for his family every night. As a father of two who also needs to pay for all of the utilities such as rent, every peso counts. That's why he felt disappointed upon learning that PhilHealth will increase contribution rates starting next month.
Sa panahon ng pandemic, di pa naman po yung full yung pasok ng tao eh. Ngayon ramdam pa po namin yung sahod. Ramdam pa po namin na hindi sapat pa yung sahod namin. Sana po ayusin lang nila na paghawak ng pera. Huwag nang nilang dali sa masama dahil pinaghihirapan ng taong bayan yan.
Ronel is worried that his contributions may go to waste since the agency was involved in big corruption scandals over the past years. According to PhilHealth, they will now start deducting 4% from a member's salary starting June from current 3%. This will be shared by the employee and the employer. If an employee has a salary of 10,000 pesos, 200 pesos will go to the employee's PhilHealth record, while the remaining 200 pesos will go to the employer. This adjustment is effective for workers with a 10,000 to 80,000 peso salary. The increase in contribution is based on the Universal Health Care Act, by which there will be increments of increase in contribution rates until 2025. PhilHealth assures the public that the increase will benefit them in a long run, as some of their services include COVID-19 benefits like testing, hospitalization, and isolation packages. The increase in contribution also aims to extend member benefits, especially for mental and primary health. The PhilHealth targets to collect 189 billion pesos worth of contribution from members and indirect contributors. They said that the increase would have been enforced on January of 2021, but this was halted by President Duterte due to the effects of the pandemic. For News 5, Jenny Dongon, We Are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after this quick break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. The World Health Organization says that Omicron subvariants are driving new cases in the Americas and Africa. WHO Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus said, while global COVID-19 deaths and cases are at their lowest since March, there is still the threat brought on by emerging Omicron sublineages.
It's too soon to know whether these new subvariants can cause more severe disease than other Omicron subvariants. But early data suggests vaccination remains protective against severe disease and death.
Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. The number of jobless Filipinos in March dropped to 2.8 million from 3 million in February. This is the lowest number of unemployed individuals in the country since January of 2020. Vice presidential candidate Rizalito David has endorsed Vice President Leni Robredo for the presidency. During the Comelec Pilipinas Forum, David urged the public to help Robredo win while in front of his running mate, Dr. Jose Montemayor Jr. David also recently endorsed his rival, Senate President Tito Soto, for the VP post. The Philippine National Police will hold a change of command ceremony for Vicente Danao Jr. this afternoon. Danao replaces PNP Chief Jonardo Carlos, who retires today after hitting the mandatory retirement age of 56. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News Live anytime, anywhere. Masks on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.